At 4 a.m. on a rainy night, Tom is sitting in his pickup truck outside his ex-wife's house. After taking his medication and removing his wedding ring, he approaches the house with a hammer and a tank of gas and begins smashing the door. The couple living in the house rushes to the door, only to be killed by Tom. He then sets the house on fire before driving off. The next morning, Rachel is awakened by a call from her divorce lawyer and friend Andy, informing her that her husband has filed a motion to claim their house and they need to discuss it over lunch. Her son Kyle comes and tells her to get changed, as they are going to be late. Rachel and Kyle, as well as her younger brother Fred and his girlfriend Mary, all live together. Afterward, Rachel drives Kyle to school in rush hour traffic. She hands him her phone to check the traffic, but he finds that Rachel's phone is not password protected. Later, she receives a call from her client Deborah. When Rachel informs her that she will be late again, Deborah fires her. Frustrated, Rachel angrily honks twice at the pickup truck that fails to go through a green light. As she drives past it before the light turns red, she honks again. At the next red light, the truck pulls up next to Rachel, and it turns out that the driver is Tom, and tells her that drivers usually give a courtesy tap. He then apologizes and asks Rachel for an apology in return. Rachel refuses and responds aggressively, insisting that she has nothing to apologize for. Enraged, Tom warns her that she will soon know what a bad day really is. As they continue driving, Tom chases them and cuts them off on the road. Rachel is terrified and prepares to make a left turn. Tom stops in the middle of the road and stares at them before driving away, finally feeling relieved. Rachel drops Kyle off at school and calls Andy to meet up for breakfast in 20 minutes. Later, she stops at a gas station, leaving her car unlocked with her phone inside. While inside the store, she sees that Tom's truck is parked behind her car. The associate and a customer notice Rachel looking tense. After learning the reason, the customer walks her to her car and gets Tom's license plate number, warning him not to cause any trouble. Tom rams the customer with his truck into the road. Before he can get up, he is hit by another vehicle in traffic. Rachel sees this and speeds away as Tom aggressively pursues her. Rachel then realizes her phone is missing. A chase ensues with Tom on her bumper, but she stops at a red light. Tom repeatedly rams into her car and Rachel calls for help, but no one pays attention. Eventually, she drives off and Tom pulls up beside her, showing that he has her phone. In a panic, Rachel almost hits a bus and hastily turns into a one-way street, nearly hitting a woman. She looks around, thinking that she lost him, and drives into a parking lot, calming herself down. Andy waits for Rachel at the diner while calling her, but it goes to voicemail. Tom finds him first and claims to be Rachel's friend. They chat for a bit before Andy prepares to leave. Tom says he can get a hold of Rachel, so Andy tells him to give it a try and hands him his phone. Meanwhile, Rachel is searching for her tablet when she hears a phone ringing. She finds Tom's phone, which he had placed in her car, and answers it. Tom gives the phone back to Andy, who tells her that he is waiting for her at the diner with her friend. Rachel tries to warn Andy that the man is not who he says he is, but it's too late as Tom takes the phone back and hears Rachel calling him a lunatic. Tom threatens her, and Andy senses that something is not right. When he asks for his phone back, Tom smashes a mug into his face. He puts Rachel on speaker before slamming Andy's head down on the table. He accuses Rachel of having an affair with Andy, just like his ex-wife cheated on him with her lawyer. Andy tries to reach for a butter knife, but Tom snatches it away and stabs him in the back of the neck, killing him in front of all the customers while someone is recording. As Tom walks out of the diner and informs Rachel that Andy is dead, Rachel apologizes, but he doesn't believe she means it and drives off. He then tells her that she must choose someone from her contacts to die next, or else he will go after her family. She chooses Deborah, who fired her. After hanging up, Rachel immediately calls the police. When the police arrive at Deborah's house, Tom is not there. At Rachel's house, Fred watches the news about Tom and calls Mary but gets no answer. He gets up to check and sees Tom's truck parked outside. Panicked, Fred grabs a knife and discovers an open door, realizing someone has broken in. Suddenly, Tom appears behind him with Mary, who is badly beaten. He tells Fred that he began to feel insignificant, powerless, and invisible to humanity, and that revenge and violence are all he has left to get him through the day. Fred holds the knife at him, but Tom repeatedly pushes Mary into the blade, killing her. On the other side, Rachel speeds to the school. Tom sends her a photo of himself with Fred, then calls her. He tracks her location and tells her she has only 3 minutes to pick up Kyle and drive away, or he will kill Fred. Then he forces Fred to write a letter blaming Rachel for Mary's death while pouring gasoline on him. Rachel picks up Kyle, and as they drive away, she calls Tom. Tom threatens her to put him on speaker and makes Fred read the letter, stating that Rachel is selfish and is the reason why this is happening. Suddenly, a cop rushes in. Tom immediately hides behind Fred, sets him on fire, and pushes him towards the cop. The cop shoots Tom in the shoulder and tries to put out the fire as Tom escapes. Rachel can't bear it anymore and feels sick as she gets out of the car. They hear the phone ring again, thinking it might be the police. Rachel answers the call but hears Tom telling her that Fred is dead and that her son is his next target. Enraged, Rachel smashes the phone. They decide to head to the police station. On the way, they realize that Tom could track them with the tablet. Kyle then finds it taped under the seat. Initially intending to throw it out of the window, Rachel realizes they can reverse track Tom. Kyle discovers that Tom is nearby and spots him driving their neighbor's minivan just ahead of them, as well as a police car. Tom also notices them as they drive past him. When they try to alert the cop, Tom rams the police car, causing it to lose control and be run over by a big truck, which leads to a massive multi-vehicle accident. Tom continues to chase them. Kyle uses the tablet to call 911, but is told they are unable to provide immediate assistance and advised to find a place to hide. Then, the tablet runs out of battery. Rachel decides to hide at her mother's house, and Tom follows them to the neighborhood, but loses track of them when Rachel makes a sudden turn. Tom drives around the neighborhood trying to find them. Rachel loses him and pulls up to her mother's house. Kyle gets inside and triggers a silent alarm. He then takes a flashlight before going upstairs to hide in the compartment behind the closet. She then prepares herself for Tom. He finally finds Rachel's car and stops. Rachel suddenly drives another car into his to flip it over. She then approaches him with a golf club, but finds that he is not inside. Tom attacks her, hitting her head against the car, and tells her she will always remember him and what she could have done to save Kyle before walking to the house. Tom calls out to Kyle, pretending to be a police officer, while he checks the room. As Kyle accidentally makes a noise, Tom goes upstairs. Rachel finds Kyle, but Tom also locates them and drags Rachel out, beating her up. He then drags Kyle out, and they engage in a brutal fight, with him continuously going after Kyle. Rachel tries to protect him but is knocked over. Tom starts to strangle Kyle with a cord. Rachel jumps in and stabs a pair of scissors into his eye. As he tries to get up, Rachel kicks the scissors in, finally killing him. The police arrive and inform Rachel that Fred is alive and they can visit him at the hospital. On their way, a car cuts Rachel off and she almost honks at him but changes her mind. Kyle tells her she made a good choice.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our channel for more videos.